Okay, so we're going to start with simplifying. Okay, so if we're given a question, you're asked to simplify like this. So we're going to say 2g I want to simplify that. So this is going back to like terms. We can only combine like terms. So there's two different types of terms here. There's g's and then there's just numbers, natural numbers here. All right. So in order to combine the g's, I can rewrite them if you want. But you don't have to. I'll rewrite them out. Just 2g's, and then this is subtracting 5g's, and then that's adding a g. That will give me the total number of g's that are in this expression. And then I'll just do the numbers. So that's 5 take away 7. So 5 from here. I can put plus there, but it's not necessary. And minus 7. And that will give me the normal numbers. So that's just your numbers. And this is our, well, g's are variables. Or pronumerals, sometimes they're called. Okay. So 2g take away 5g's. 2 of anything take away 5, you must go into the negatives. So that's going to be negative 3g plus another g. That's going to be negative 2g's. Okay, so 2 take away 5 gives negative 3, and then we add another 1 to give negative 2. 5 take away 7. Well, 5 on my number line take away 7 will also give me negative 2. What's my answer then to this? It's going to be negative 2g subtract 2. Or negative 2g negative 2. Now, if you want, you can do this step. Now, normally, I try and get a little bit quicker and remove that step, but you can use it if you want. I'm just going to do a second example. Okay. So my second example here, I need to figure out how many different terms should I have in my answer. If we look at the question above, I ended up with 2 terms in the answer. There's 2 terms. How many terms were in the question? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why we've simplified it down from 5 terms down to 2 terms. That's it, simplified. This one, well, it's got 4 terms in the question, and I wonder how many are going to be in the answer. You're more than welcome to type in the chat there if you think you know how many terms are going to be in the answer. Okay, so a few of you are getting it. Yes, it's going to be 2. Yeah, 2. So Rafa, Christopher, your first answer. Polina, you're right. Elan, you're right. Okay, so 2 terms. What are my 2 terms? Well, xy's is 1 term, and x squared y's are the other term. They're 2 different terms. That's x times y, and that's just x times y. Not the same term. Although they have the same letters involved, there's not the same numbers of the letters. This one is the same as this one. Yx and xy are the same, because 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. But 3 times 2 is not the same as 3 times 3 times 2, which this one would be. So I can once again rewrite them separately and then combine like terms. So this one is one of these. This one is also one of these. So I'm just keeping the sign that's in front. This one's also one of those. There only is 1 term with x squared y in it, so I can just keep that here. That's x squared y. Now this step, you don't need to include if you have the hang of it. Although if you want to include it, you can, but you don't need to include it because a lot of people can go straight from this step to the finished answer, and that's the kind of goal for us. We're going to try and get to that answer straight away just by looking at it. Okay, let's well, we have this anyway. That's definitely going to be in our answer. There's nothing to add or subtract to that one. So what else is going to be in our answer? Well, let's collect. So the xy's don't really matter. I know my answer. Well, this one's yx, but it can be written xy for the reason I stated here. So I will write it as xy because xy is better because it's alphabetical in order. So I've -3 of them. I add 2 of them, and then I subtract 5. So I need to start at -3. If you want, you can draw a number line. Start at -3. Start at -3, add 2, so that's going this way too. So that's add -2, -1, so I'm at -1, and then I need to subtract 5. So I start at this point and then I go back again. 1, 2, 3, oh, I need a couple more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's this point here? Well, that's -4 beside that, and -5, and that's -6 I end up on. Now, if you have a number line, you can use that. If you're stuck, you can also use a calculator. So I ended up making -6 xy's. -6 xy's. And that's my answer. So I've gone from 4 terms here down to 2, 3 like terms and 1 unlike term. Okay. So we will move on now to substitution of negative numbers. So these negative pronumerals, or simplifying, that's slightly different. We were only really dealing with finishing with positive numbers. Okay, let's move on to substitution. All right, so our question could give you the value of variables before it starts. So the value -2 is x, y is -7, and z is going to be 5. Okay, so 2 integers, well, they're all integers, but 2 negative integers and 1 positive integer. Let's look at some questions. Okay, I'm going to look at a green level, then a yellow level, and then a blue level. A green level question would look something like, maybe do 16 over 2x, or maybe something like y minus x. Okay, so there are 2 examples of green level questions. How would I do them? Well, each time I'm going to replace the variable, or the number, or the letter, or the pronumeral, say all the same thing, with the number above, which we've done before. So that's 16 over 2. Now what do? I put in a bracket. And then I pop in whatever x was in here, and it's -2. Okay. Okay, so this is a division, but before we divide, we must multiply. 2 times -2. This is in brackets first. We must do this first. You could divide by 2 and then 2 again, but I think it's easier. Just we'll work out this. 16 then. 2 times -2 is -4. This is a fraction. This is just a top-heavy fraction or improper fraction, 16 over -4. How many times does 4 fit into 16? 4 fits into 16 4 times. How many times does -4 fit into 16? It fits in -4 times. Because -4 times -4 gives us that positive answer back. So if a positive number is divided by a negative, we get a negative. Christopher, you can re-watch this later on when I post the video. Okay, so the answer to the first one is -4. The second one, green level question, y is -7, so I'd replace it with -7 like that, minus, and then I replace the x with -2. So once again, I've used brackets when I'm replacing the variable. -7 minus -2. Minus in a row will be plus. So that's actually -7 plus 2. -7 plus 2, you can use number line. And if you're stuck, you can use a calculator. But negative 7 add 2 will go towards 0, so it's actually going to be negative 5, as Jaden says. Okay, so that'll be a green level style question. Let's do something that may come up in yellow. Okay, so I'm going to do x, y times z minus x, and then I'm going to do, let's put something, 3x minus 1 all over z over x plus y. Okay, so it's just the number of variables we have to replace here, and we just have to take it step by step. So let's just replace the variables, same numbers as before. I won't rewrite them, but x is minus 2, y is negative 7, and z is 5. So x is negative 2, so I just replace it with negative 2 in brackets. Y is negative 7, I just replace it in brackets. Z then is 5, that's a positive number. I'm still putting it in brackets. And then minus x is going to be minus 2, because x was minus 2. Okay. Just don't want to run into this question. All right, what do I do first? Do any operation that needs to be done within brackets first. Nothing needs to be done to this. Nothing needs to be done to this. It's already sorted and in brackets. This I do first. 5 minus 2 is 5 plus 2, so that's 7. So I have minus 2 here, still minus 7 here, and now 7. And then I can write my final answer, because that's multiply, 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 brackets, brackets, brackets. Minus 2 times minus 7. Minus times a minus is a plus. 2 times 7 is 14. 14 then times 7. Well, if you're stuck on you can use a calculator, but I think it's 98, because it'd be twice 49. If you want to use the commutative rule of multiplication, 7 times 7 is 49, and double it is 2. So it doesn't matter what order you multiply if they're all multiplied. Positive 98 is that answer. This one, same thing. I'm going to replace the variables first. So 3 bracket x is negative 2 minus 1. Bracket again. Z is 5 over x is negative 2 plus minus 7 in brackets. I must put these in brackets. Not 100% necessary if they're on their own like this in a fraction, but I will anyway. Okay, it's just a good habit to get into. This would be borderline a blue question. Be about as hard as yellow would get. What do I do first? Well, I must get an answer for this bracket and this bracket first. I'm going to do the bracket that comes first from left to right. So minus 2 minus 1, minus 2 take away another 1, that's minus 3. This 3 sits out in front still. And now I'm going to get the answer for this bracket. Now this is not quite as easy. I have 5 over negative 2, so that's negative 2.5, I suppose. Plus minus 7. So plus minus 7 is a minus 7. Plus and a minus is a minus. So we should remember that from our number unit at the start of the year. This is a fraction. It's 5 over negative 2 minus 7. How do I do that? Well, I need a common denominator. If this has one part negative in it, the whole thing is actually negative. Now, none of the examples, well, I think one of the example in yellow has something like this, where there's a negative in it like that. But if part of a fraction is negative, Reese is in there with 85.5, is that what you're thinking? If part of this is negative, then the whole thing is negative. Because if they were both negative, the numerator and denominator, that would make the whole thing positive, because negative divided by negative is positive. All right, so I have this. Now, you would be allowed to use a calculator for this in an algebra exam, because it's not a fractions exam anymore, but you should be able to do it without. We'll do it without a calculator. Common denominator is 2. So minus 5 over 2 minus, well, what's this over 2? Well, it's 7 over 1 at the moment. So if I multiply by 2, I get 14 over 2. Still, 3 times negative 3 out here in front. Well, that's eventually going to be negative 9, but I'll keep it as just that for the time being. Minus 5 take away 14 is minus 19, isn't it? Negative 5 take away another 14. Negative 19 over 2. Multiply by 3, 3. Okay, now I'm ready to multiply. 3 times 3 is -9. -9 times 89. Oh, that's a difficult one. -9 times, -9 times 19 is not 89. It's going to be a positive anyway. -9 from this, -9 times -19. Yes, you will have a worksheet today, Christopher. All right, so if you want to use your calculator for that one, I'm going to cheat and use my calculator. It's 171, and then dividing it by 2. You can leave it like that, improper fraction, or you can get 85.5. Okay, so that was definitely as hard as they're going to get. In blue level, they don't get much harder than that regarding just a straight-in substitution. But that was tricky. That was probably actually more of a blue level, really. It's like the last question in yellow, but more like a blue level. Okay. The blue level questions, I don't think we need to go through those. They just, yeah, they're just very similar to that. I don't think we need to do another one for substitution. So we've done a few different types for substitution there. All right.